We like to interact with you, the audience, and the way to do so is get on Twitter, give us a shout out, mention us. All Indie is the username, so you use the @ ALLINDIE. You mention us on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out here on the air and even display your tweet at the bottom of the screen for everybody to see. And you could also ask questions of our guest the same way. If you have any questions for our guest, don't be shy. Get on Twitter and ask your question there, and we'll ask that question right here on the air as well. And I know that last week we forgot to mention also we do have a phone number that you can call in on, and I don't know if Rich has that number. There it is. It's 347-985-0344. 347-985-0344. Call in. Don't be shy. We'll get you on the air with us. That number is only available, though, in the United States and Canada, unless you, sorry about the video here, unless you, of course, want to call long distance from out of the country. That charge will be up to you. That said, let me go ahead and bring someone who is, well, may as well be long distance because he lives in the middle of nowhere in Paris, Illinois. And we were discussing earlier about the tunnel that leads from his home all the way to the Louvre in Paris, France. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Wildman. Hey, Rich.
You know, I dug that with a spoon.
With, oh, one spoon?
No, a bunch of spoons.
A bunch of, oh, okay.
If they're plastic, they tend to wear out rather quickly. You know,
and how many years did it take for you to build
I didn't take very long at all. Not very long at all.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Anyway.
I'm a workaholic after all.
You are. Oh, hey, you're using a different coffee cup today.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I won't tell Bosco and Peck about that.
That's okay. They don't have to know everything.
Oh, they won't.
It's fine. It's
so
fine.
I hear you're going through a bit of a heat wave over there in Paris, Illinois.
Yeah, we have been decent today. Not nearly like the weather where you're at, but we got up to about 60, 61 degrees today, something like that. So that's not bad.
Wow. You actually were able to turn off the heat?
No. It just didn't. No. It didn't kick on.
Oh, okay.
It's still going to get cold tonight, so we left the heat exactly where it is, and it just didn't turn on.
You know that 60, 61 here in South Florida is, bundle up weather. Yeah. Whereas for you, it's probably, like going to the beach day for you.
No, it's more like not having to wear a jacket weather. I lived in Alabama for over 10 years, and so I know what you're talking about. I wasn't nearly as far south as what you're at, but very close. And so I'm used to the warmer weather, and it's still taken me a while to get reacclimatized because once you go warm, it's very hard to go back to cold weather. It'd be like if you moved back to New Jersey.
Oh,
it would take you probably 20 years to get used to it again.
It would. Yeah. I don't think I'd survive more than a year. That, let me tell you.
To give you an idea, I remember one year, probably back in 2000. No, it was before then. Probably 96, 95. I was outside in 40-degree weather in a short-sleeve T-shirt throwing snowballs. But I wouldn't be able to do that today.
Snowballs in 40-degree weather?
Yeah, it snowed a day before, and it got up to 40 the next day. The snow hadn't all melted. I wouldn't be able to do that today because, we don't have snow right now, so, yeah.
All right. Anyway, I know that you want to talk a little bit about our buddy Walt before we introduce our guest, right?
Yeah, I was going to segue into that, but you ruined it because, All
right. Well, why don't you pretend I didn't say anything and segue into it?
Well, I think I will, because I know that Walt doesn't have snow either, and he is a big supporter of indie music, just like we are. And in fact, that's one of the things we have in common: no snow and big supporters of indie music. And if you're an indie artist, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. It doesn't matter what genre of music you're playing. All you have to do is get in touch with Walt, and he can help you get more people, more eyes on your product, your website, your music, whatever the case might be, at indiemusicbus.com. A little something they put together for us. We like to play it every show. Certainly hope you enjoy it. And visit Walt and his buddies down there at indiemusicbus.com. That's Walt at the Indie Music Bus, and you gotta love him because, well, he loves indie and indie music, and if you're indie, well, it's kind of the way it works.
Yeah, I mean, there is no indie industry without Walt at this point, really.
Yeah, because there is no WAL or T in indie music. Wait a minute.
Wow.
There isn't.
Right, there isn't. You're right.
I had to think about that for a second after I said it, because
we're going to have to tell him about that. We're going to have to. You're right. There is no Walt without.
Be like, where do you get off supporting indie music? There is no WAL or T in indie music. Oh. Just kidding, Walt. Honest.
That's his new slogan.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no Walt in indie music, but we'd like there to be. I don't know.
Oh, man. All right. Enough about Walt. We got to bring in our guest.
Yes, we do.
And we had a little chat with him beforehand. I think you guys are going to enjoy our guest today. Joining us from Seattle, Washington, talented man, and he's pretty busy. Got different projects he's working on. We're going to talk about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce to you Mr. Michael Trew. As I say, Seattle, the man in Seattle. What's up?
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Wow. All right. Hey, you kind of darkened up a little bit. What? How did that happen?
It's the
Did
weather.
your light go out? It's the weather. Oh.
No, it literally, a giant cloud just moved over my home.
Oh, so it's natural.
It's
natural.
Portland. It's Washington State, Portland, wherever that's at. Is it in Washington or Seattle or Oregon?
Portland's in Oregon.
In Washington.
You're in Washington.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Washington. So it rains up there a lot.
It does. Yeah.
There you go, Mark.
Yeah, this is what we call mood lighting. So.
Yeah, but the mood for what? Because for me, all that cloudiness would get me depressed.
Yep. That's how you get some of the, the really good passionate music, out of this area. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's why the music in Seattle's so moody. I understand now.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you have a great scene out there in Seattle, and I just got to know, first of all, are you originally from Seattle, or did you relocate to Seattle?
Yeah, I'm one of the people born here, so I'm
so
feeling more and more unique all the time.
And
people ask, are you're actually from there? It's like,
wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all. So
that's all, folks. Well, it was nice talking to all y'all today. Yeah, have a great day. I'm just because now, of course, I lost my train of thought. But
okay.
So born in Seattle, have you ever thought about leaving? Have you ever thought about going, like, to LA or to Nashville, somewhere else that might help kind of explode your music scene?
I mean, I suppose everybody that crosses their mind at some point, but I think as far as my music, I never thought that being in any of those other places would be the route that I needed to take. So,
Hey,
so yeah,
not that Seattle
I think
place.
I think here is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. And do you play a lot of gigs out there? Are you known in the area?
By some people. Yeah. Yeah. I like to play a lot of gigs. And my band just went on a tour of the West Coast and played several of the major cities on the coast. So yeah, it was great.
All 3 states.
One of them is really long, so
That's true. As they like to brag about how long their state really is. Anyway, yeah. So, but did you make it all the way down to San Diego?
Not this time. I've been to San Diego a bunch of other times, but this time I was sort of taking a new band out on the road, and so it was the first time for the other 3 guys that went along with me, and we decided to just make it a really short, concise tour, just so that they could get used to it for the first time.
And so do you change musicians a lot, or is this now the band that you're sticking with?
I guess that depends. I was in the same band for about 8 years, and that sort of wrapped up, and then I've been playing with various people, but mostly the same group of people for the last couple of years.
Was that Autumn Electric that you toured with, or was that you, a solo musician, with your backup band, your supporting band?
Yeah, for the. Are you talking about the most recent tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. The most recent tour was the Michael Trew band right now, and eventually I'm gonna think up something more interesting to call it, but I don't know.
Michael Trew,
I feel like
has a ring to it.
Anytime it's like anytime you call it like that, it just sounds like the Dave Matthews Band or the I don't know.
Is that a bad thing?
Person. I just like the idea of like something real, little creative or a little kind of my own thing. But if you have a solo project, if you put your name and then band, then at least people know that they're going to see a band, and so that's it's just more informative than anything else.
I suppose. Now, but that of course would not be conducive if you were doing an acoustic set by yourself in a venue.
Right. Then you just hack the band off and you just go as your own name. Yeah.
Michael. So it would be Michael Trew of the Michael Trew Band.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple of shows on the tour where I said, "Hi, I'm Michael Trew, and this is the Michael Trew Band," and just because I don't know, it's fun to be redundant a little bit. Not too much.
I know. You could always, kind of borrow from somebody else and call it Michael Trew and his good buddies.
I suppose so. They would catch up to me though.
Okay. I'll mention that to the audience. Of course, I'm actually talking about a band that called Brian Vogan and his good buddies, and you are a member of that band. Now, you're obviously not the front man of that band, and it's a Kindie rock. Why don't you explain to everybody what Kindie rock is?
Sure. So basically, you've got the genre of music that is geared for children, and over the last few decades, you've got your famous singers like Rafi is a big one people talk about, and I actually don't know a ton about the genre of children's music, but in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of these musicians that were famous. They're whatever band they were in, they're putting out records, and then at some point something clicked and they said, "I'm going to make music for children." and they started doing that. Like you've got They Might Be Giants. Those guys started making records for kids. The guy from the Presidents of the United States of America, he's probably like maybe the most famous. I don't know. And so the idea is that you just have rock music. It's not like happy, like annoying for kids music. It's just like rock music, but the lyrics are about washing your hands and about when it's time to go to the bathroom and being nice to people, which is, so I hope that all makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes me wonder though, how would indie death metal work out?
So the group I play in has a heavy metal song. We have a few of them. One is the one about washing your hands, and there's another one about a trip that a guy and his kid take to like a factory where they're working on metal and there's sparks flying everywhere, and there's this heavy metal music playing, and they're singing about all the metal and this kind of metal, that kind of metal, and it's great. It's just I'm never amazed at all of the types of things that my friend Brian writes about, and the kids just are head over heels about it everywhere we go. So it's, I don't know. I was wondering
how did the kids react to that kind of a hard rock song?
You know how you got your really rambunctious kids, that you got to give them something to let all of their energy out. So there's some children that those songs are their most favorite, and if you try and play the lullaby song, they're like, they just stare off into space and start sighing or whatever, they get mad. So but I think the parents tend to like the lullabies a little bit more, because when they want to put their kid to sleep. Yeah. So
it reminds me of a I don't know, I was just thinking of a children's, not really a children's book, but it was a book written, it's like a 7-minute long audio book that was read out by Samuel L. Jackson, and the name of the book is Go the Fuck to Sleep. and it's hilarious. If you ever have a chance, Google it and listen to this read by Samuel L. Jackson. It's incredibly funny. It's you're gonna laugh hysterically.
That's
anyway,
great. He's probably pretty. Yeah. He's probably pretty eloquent, in that. It's
very. Yes,
and you better do what he says.
You don't want to mess with Samuel L.
No, I'm just thinking of Pulp Fiction, right? This is a monologue at the end of that. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It's going to get really biblical at bedtime. So, go ahead.
Before we start the first song of the night, what we didn't really introduce to the audience yet is actually what type of music you're playing. What genre are you playing right now? Then we'll go into introducing your first song of the evening.
Sure. I would say maybe the best way to describe it is art rock, and I'd say maybe the most recognizable group in art rock, and we're going way back here, but either the Moody Blues or Pink Floyd are the two groups I tend to think of, and not that I sound completely like either of them at all, but it's sort of like in between a lot of popular music, rock and folk music, and I'm also really interested in progressive rock. And progressive rock can get really intense and really technical, but I don't go 100% in that direction. So I always tend to kind of be somewhere in the middle of that, where I'm drawn to all these kind of interesting creative aspects of rock and roll, but also just melodies. Does that explain it? That's a really long answer.
Yeah, well, you know what? The best way really to resolve this, how the music sound is, let's let the audience take a listen to one of your songs. So the first song we're going to play tonight is called Secret of the Sea. And what we ask of all of our guests to do is just explain a little bit about the song and what it's about and how it came to be.
Sure. Yeah, this one's pretty simple. When I was growing up, we used to take these trips out to the ocean every summer, and I think that as a child standing on the beach and the vast expanse of it is something that I'd say I got my very first idea of sort of like the spiritual world or something like that. And then this song is about that, but also kind of about a specific trip that my wife and I took to the ocean a few years ago. And so anyways, then it just turns into a song, and there you go.
Voila. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the song is Secret of the Sea by Michael Trew, right here on Tuesdays Live. Rich, let it slide.
I can see your window. I think you're still awake, my dear. Turn it on, your orange tree, and every light inside of me. Turn it on, your orange sunrise. We can go to the ocean. We can go today, my dear. We can leave our troubles in our rooms back here. If you pass the weather trees, there's a light above the sea, and the salt air gets inside of me. Every night we could cook over an open fire. Tastes better to me. In the morning we can walk along the sand, and all the waves they will whisper the secret of the sea.
Secret of the Sea by Michael Trew, right here on Tuesdays Live. Hope you all enjoyed that tune. Give you a little bit of taste. Let me tell you that the next two songs, they start to pick up a little pace, and I think everybody's going to love the whole package tonight. Before I throw it over to Rich to let him ask you a couple of questions, real quick, throw out there where people can find your music.
Sure. Yeah, if you just look up michaeltrewmusic.com, it's on the screen there, and my last name is spelled Trew rather than True.
Right. Because you didn't want to lie.
Yeah, that's all you got to know.
Okay. All right. In that case, I'm going to let Rich take over the questioning for a little while. And Rich, you're up.
Now, Michael, first question out of the hat is, you see how much time he left me? Really? I mean...
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I know. I mean, really. So, all right. So, the biggest question on my mind, and I certainly hope that everybody out there watching shares my curiosity in this, is what about music drew you to become an artist? Why music? Why... on the West Coast, got to be one of the roughest places to be a musician, first of all. But what got you started?
Well, I started really young, in school, and I think I was in a choir, and then I started learning the piano, and around the time I was about starting high school, several of my friends started to learn how to play the guitar, and I was a little bit jealous of them, and so I got a guitar myself and started to learn to play, and just started writing songs on the guitar almost on day one, and so it immediately was like a really good way to express myself, and that was nice, but then also to a reason to befriend more people, and also as a really shy kid, I was suddenly able to have something to talk to girls about, for the first time.
Always the girls, yeah, I get it.
So, yeah, so just all of those things. So, I'd say it's just been such a wonderful part of my life ever since that. You get hooked on it. So.
Did you get the girl, or are you still looking?
I'm married now. So
you got the
I guess
girl.
That worked out.
That's all that counts, right? I mean, now you can quit playing music. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, we don't want you to quit playing music. We want you to continue playing music. Because there are a lot of other guys out there who can use your music to get their own girl. So that's the way that works. All right, so you say you started a little bit out of jealousy. Guitar. All right, I want to ask you specifically about guitar. Is that the main instrument you play right now? Is that the go-to instrument?
I'd say that's the instrument I've spent the most time playing. So probably the most skilled at that. And but I play the piano also, and I'd say that I probably write equally as much on the piano. And that's just because everything's out in front of you, and you can think about how you're changing keys and all this stuff just by moving your fingers around a little bit. And then I also play the flute. Is
really
sort of like a tertiary instrument. Yeah.
That's very cool. I don't know that we've yet had anybody on the program who also plays the flute, so that's good. I'm a French horn man myself from back in the day.
Cool.
Eons ago. Back before they invented dirt. All right. I'm not that old. Just want to clarify. All right. So where do you record at it? Do you have a home studio set up that you do all your work at? Do you regularly book out a studio? How does that work? A lot of indie musicians are starting to set up their own studios, record out of home or whatever the case may be. So how's that process for you go?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's been different for me every time. I guess I just put out my 6th record, and So I'd say like either I knew somebody that had a studio and we would work out some kind of arrangement and I'd record there. And then over the course of the band I was in, first we recorded in one guy's home, and then the next record after that we recorded in another guy's home. And our final record we recorded at London Bridge Studios in Seattle. We kind of rented it out for a day there and then finished up the album at home. And that was a fun experience because that's a really famous little studio that you can rent out for a day, you know,
Right.
relatively inexpensively. And
So-
the last record I did, I linked up with this small label and they had a studio out in the mountains. And so we did that there. So, but I'd say, yeah, really very, very few times I've ever been in a studio where I was going and I was paying by the hour, because that's really stressful and expensive, and you know.
Absolutely.
So.
And the whole thing, you know, I know from reading your bio, you've been in a number of different bands. So I'm going to have to ask about it. This whole deal of art rock. What is art rock? How would you describe that to someone who may understand, you know, what pop rock or adult contemporary rock or stuff like that is? But what is art rock? How's that described from your perspective?
Yeah, I'd say that it's just typified by a kind of music where technically anything could happen. You know, it's like if you want to have a choral part in a song, you can do that. If you want to have a symphonic part, if you want to have a really heavy psychedelic rock part, and then drop down into a folk part. And it's not as schizophrenic as I'm making it sound, but you know, if you listen to maybe some songs by Yes in the 70s, they do that sort of thing where they're in a beautiful folk part and then it drops into this, like, you know, odd time signature crazy guitar mashup. So what I like about it is that you feel very free to do whatever it is you want to do whatever it is that you're interested in at the time, and not just feel like you're stuck to your own genre and your fans expect this one thing from you, sort of a thing.
Right. Okay, I get that. Now, how does Indian music? Because on your bio, I read that you spent time with Shandana Dixit. How does that Indian influence appear in your music, or is it something that still influences your music today?
Yeah, I think so. I trained with her for, I think, about 2 or 3 years. And so I learned a lot, because there's a lot of peculiarities and special techniques used in Indian music. And once you spend enough time really learning all that stuff and applying it, it just becomes part of your own musical vocabulary. And you know, I could be playing some kind of classical Indian piece and try and use those techniques, or I could be playing a folk song and a couple of those techniques just creep into my own song. And I think that's where it gets really interesting, because you almost are creating something new, or you're doing a fusion of different things.
That makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Now, I brought Mark back in here because, you know, he's on the East Coast, and you know how rude they are on the East Coast. He was going to interrupt us anyway, so I figured I'd better bring him back in. So before I turn it over to him, however, because now he knows we're not ignoring him, what do you got coming up next? What is going on in the world of your music right now? Any new albums, new tours, anything like that happening?
Sure. Yeah, in last November, we put out my first solo record. Like I said, I did the band records for a few years, and then last week we did a tour all of the West Coast, and so that was a pretty big deal for us. And next up, there's a couple of festivals and a few different gigs around town, and just kind of focusing on doing stuff more at home for a little bit, and then probably doing another tour later on. So
Awesome.
Yeah, doing a lot of things. So it's always like on
Yeah,
one
you
given
get
day of the week. What are
a
you
lot
doing?
of irons in the fire then.
Yeah, I think it keeps things fresh for a person. So
Very cool.
Busy
I see.
guy. Yeah. What? Yeah.
I was just going to say. Now we give it over to Mark, and he had nothing to say, but busy guy.
All right. I'm the king of segues. Yeah, right. I'm the king of ruining your segues. All right. We're going to go ahead and play the next song on the list, which is I'm Your Television. And there's just so many ways I can go with that title, but I'm not going to even try. I'm going to let you describe what does that mean? I'm Your Television.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's an interesting one. So that's a song about kind of like interpersonal relationships, and not like a romantic relationship song, but it has to do with when you get to know your best friend so very, very well, and it's almost like what is it? My friend said it. She has a front row season tickets to her friend's life or something, and I don't know. It's hard to describe. There's anytime you write a piece of music, there's a lot of different things that are going through your mind. But that's basically the gist of it. It's kind of I don't know. I guess we should just listen to it.
Okay. All right.
I should have said all past too. Yeah.
I was wondering how long Rich was going to let you struggle with that explanation before he went back into the double screen here. That's all right. Don't worry. We're going to let the audience take a listen, and they can make their own judgment. It's called I'm Your Television by Michael Trew right here on Tuesdays Live. Kick it, Rich.
Sometimes you feel like they need you. Sometimes you feel like a medicine man, but they will grow up and leave you. Relax, relax. Sometimes you feel they can't see you. Sometimes you feel like a ghost in the room, but loneliness it can free you. Relax, I'm your television. I see your intent.
All right. I'm Your Television by Michael Trew right here on Tuesdays Live. And that's Michael down there, and I got Rich over there. And I just like to point at Rich a lot, you know.
I get my directions mixed up. I know where down is, but I don't know where left and right are in this kind of stuff.
I know. Well, this video stuff is everything's backwards. I don't know. Strange. Anyway, and it looks like, you know, it's getting cloudier and cloudier over in Seattle. That natural light is disappearing.
Actually, it's yeah.
It's getting late in the day.
It's pretty bad. Well, it's, you know, we still got a couple more hours of daylight, maybe 1.5. I don't know, but yeah, it was real bright when I first opened up the window for the show.
Fading away. So just to give everybody, you know, an idea of how busy you are. Obviously, you know, you're doing your own solo gig, Michael Trew and the Michael Trew Band, and you're also part of an art rock group called Autumn Electric. Oh, actually, I don't know if is that still an active group, or is that one dispensed with?
Yeah, I think the most of the band members all went their separate ways in that group. So I don't know if that it might have a resurgence at some point, but a lot of the music from that band I still will play with my solo band, you know, because it's whatever favorite song I wrote 5 years ago, kind of a thing.
Oh, that's all right. That's cool. And let's see, you're also bassist in the Kindie rock group that we talked about before with Brian Vogan and his good buddies. And you also do vocals and flute in a progressive rock group called the Moonletters. And you're a keyboardist, flutist, and vocalist in a group called the HZ. What is that?
Pronounced the Hertz.
Oh, the Hertz. Oh, yeah, it makes sense now.
Okay.
And what kind of music does the Hertz put out?
Oh, well, the Hertz is almost strictly a cover band. It's just a group of guys that I got together with, and so we play all of our favorite songs. And
what would be? Give me some examples of some of those favorite songs that you might be playing.
Let's see. So that band is interesting because everybody just says, okay, let's play this song. Now let's play this song. Now let's do this. And so it's really, I'd say our repertoire is a little bit weird because you go from like Black Sabbath, and then we're playing, what is it? A Phil Collins song. Then we do an Elton John song. Then we're doing like Nirvana. You know, it's really, we don't really hold ourselves to any sort of thing, you know. We just go for it. So,
wow. So now, do you have a big enough repertoire where if you're playing a gig, you know, you can play just about anything people ask you to play?
You know, we've got a pretty big repertoire. So it's like, obviously, I think we only maybe know about 40 songs. So requests can get a little bit dicey. You know, we just hope they'll forget by the time we start the song. So.
Yeah, right. You know, well, they've had a few drinks, and I don't remember. I asked them to play something. I don't remember. And then you'll play something, and you go, "Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I asked them to play," and they don't really. So, like, you know, like if I was to come to you and say, "Can you play Welcome to the Jungle?" You would play Elton John instead, right? Okay,
that's possible. Yeah. You might say like, "Oh, let me play the next best thing," and whatever. Yeah.
We're going to ask you to play some death metal, something, you know, really screamy and you know, scratchy. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick in the final song of the evening. At this point, it's called "Bright Lights, Cold Hands." Sounds now, if I'm going to guess based on the title. Sounds like someone's getting ready to perform in front of the bright lights and is nervous. No? Am I way off base?
Yeah. This is actually a song that a friend of mine wrote, and so I didn't write the lyrics or pick the title. I just got to record it. But this is a story of a guy who's separated from his family, and he gets deported back to his original country, and he wants to get back to his family, so he figures out a way, and he ends up somehow on a train traveling across country in the US. And he's always worried that something is going to stop him along the way. And so my friend wrote this song about this guy that he knew that the story is about. And the song is about how this guy feels as he's on this train, and he knows that he could get stopped at any moment. And he's thinking about his family ahead, and he's thinking about the life that he wants to live. And anyway, so my friend was moved by it, and then I was moved by it, and and I almost asked him to say, like, hey, have you thought about renaming this song? Because I think sometimes people think it's about something else, and but I never did, because I just figure it was his inspiration to title it that, so I just let it ride. So
hey, why not? All right.
Yeah.
Bright Lights, Cold Hands by Michael Trew, right here on Tuesdays Live. Take a listen, folks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stuck on a rail that runs just one way, on a train that's slowing down. I gave so much just to come this far, just let me get to the next town. Miss my kids and my comfy chair, I miss my hard-working wife, I miss my house and the country air, I miss the touch of my wife. Bright lights up ahead, bright lights all around. I don't need no jail on this westbound train, no shackles upon my wrists. I trapped like a dog at the bottom of the well, cold steel under my fist. Bright lights up ahead, bright lights all around. Cold hands pointing at me, cold hands pulling me down.
Bright Lights, Cold Hands, right here on Tuesdays Live. That was by Michael Trew. Yeah, we were kind of discussing about the shortness of the songs. Didn't give us a chance to run to the bathroom or get high.
sorry,
Yeah.
you picked the songs.
Yeah, no, you did. You sent them to us.
Oh, did
You
I?
sent the
Okay,
songs.
sorry.
No, it's cool. It's all good. I can hold it in. So, I'm not as old as Rich. Rich.
Yeah. About that, Mark. No, anyway. It's all good. It's all good. But like you said, shorter music fits into radio rotation a lot better, and you know that's a good thing these days. A lot of bands are out there putting music out that's extremely long form, so it's a fresh, fresh air when you get music that's more radio friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We try to keep music to no longer than 5 minutes, and we've gotten some submissions of songs that were 6, 7, 8 minutes long, and we've had to send it back and say, you know, we appreciate it. It's a good song and all, but you need to send me a radio edit of this song or a different song, and because it was just way too long. So I'd rather have a 2 minute and 40-second song than an 8 minute song. Or we can get that one artist on here that will send us a 60-minute song, and we'll just play the music and forget about everything else. So,
now I'm interested.
Just say welcome.
There you go. So any new albums coming down the pike that we should be waiting for?
You talking about from me or from people I know, or
no? From you. We're talking to you. We're talking about you.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so my new album just came out about 3 months ago, so it's fresh and it's out there, and we're promoting it right now. And I guess the next thing you briefly mentioned another band I'm in called Moonletters, based in Seattle, and that's just a full-on like hard psychedelic progressive rock band. And so we've been working on some material for almost a couple of years in that band that we're finally getting around to recording. So I'd say that's probably the next thing I'm doing that'll get released.
All right. Now, if everybody who's watching wants to pick up your music, where can they go to grab your latest album, grab singles, whatever the case might be? Where are you going to send them to? Where can they pick that stuff up?
Well, it's really easy to go to either my website or go to Bandcamp. That's a real, popular site for independent music. And also the guys at the label, which I didn't mention, the label name is Natural Cut Records. I always got to remind myself to name drop everything. But they apparently put it, it's, you can basically go to most any music retailer online and my album will be there. So if you like to go to, Amazon or God forbid, but go to Bandcamp. But I don't know, what is it, iTunes, any of the big ones, but I would suggest that I think that the more independent, it's like buy it off my website, buy it through Bandcamp. There's certain sites where the artist gets more of a cut or it's through a less corporate type entity. And that's what I always suggest. But of course we do, put it through all of the mediums because we want people to be able to get it, So.
You have to. That's what everybody knows. They know the iTunes, the Amazon Music, Yeah. But I would, if I saw that on a website, on a musician's site, and I could either buy the music on iTunes or Bandcamp, I'm going to Bandcamp because I know that the artist is going to get a bigger cut for sure. So,
right.
Sorry. Well, you know what? Michael Trew is going to slowly disappear, ladies and gentlemen, and he's turning into a ghost. And in a minute,
he's not yet. He's not yet because we have to. We got to let people know. You need to go to Michael Trew's website, and the website again, Mike, is
MichaelTrewMusic.com.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't go to MichaelTrew.com. Go to MichaelTrewMusic.com. They can follow you on Twitter at Trew Michael.
That's it. Yeah.
As opposed to the false. All right.
And we didn't have enough room. You got a Facebook page you can plug for us as well?
I do. Yeah, it's a Facebook page under my own name.
Okay.
And so there's a picture of me. You'll recognize it, and that's a good way to keep track. We posted a lot of things that during our tour, that it's just a fun way to, like, if you want to see what I'm up to in general. It's yeah.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come and hang out with us for an hour today. And certainly hope that, when you get an album out next time around, you can let us know about it and maybe debut it here with us on the show. Sure,
that'd be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, actually, I'm really looking forward to hearing the music from the Moonletters. That'll be, I'm a fan of progressive rock, so that I'm looking forward to that as well.
Sure. Well, we have a website with a couple of songs already up if if people
really?
want to check that out. Yeah, it's just moonletters.com. And
okay.
So it's a little sneak peek into the album.
All right, yeah. Check it out, folks. I'm going to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, next week our guest is going to be Todd Barrow, and we're looking forward to that. Another great guy. Going to be a lot of fun, and of course, you know where to find us: TuesdaysLive.com. And let me thank again our guest Michael Trew for coming on tonight and spending an hour out of his late afternoon with us. I know he probably has better places to be, and he was here instead. So we are very appreciative. What, Rich? What did I do now?
You're just, it's we're not like chopped liver,
Well, I'm chopped in your liver, so
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Oh, it's from all the drinking. I know.
Yeah, you do that too much. Just saying. Not enough. He says it's cider, folks.
He's
hard cider.
He says it's medicinal.
It's exactly right. Exactly.
I got to go to Seattle, man. I'm gonna go there and get some coffee and some legal marijuana. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. No.
All right. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to catching up with you again real soon. In the meantime,
awesome.
There he is. The ghost, the puff of smoke.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
The puff of smoke is
I know,
coming,
it's all
folks.
the light that's left.
Yes. Oh, man. Next week, I'm going to tell Todd Barrow to shine a flashlight on himself or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Is he here in the Northwest, too?
I don't know where he is. I gotta have to look that up. But anyway, catch us next week, folks. Same station, same time, same website. You know where to find us. Rich, any final words?
I just want to say good night to Carol. So good night, Carol, and thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Good night, Carol. Let me just really quickly shout out to Carol. She works her ass off scheduling and screening and doing all that hard work for us, and we really, really appreciate it. And we shall catch you all next week. In the meantime, we're going to close out with a song called Outlaw in Me by Todd Barrow. Thanks for tuning in to Tuesdays Live. You all have a great evening. See ya.
What I should say, real strict is how I was raised. A little change won't hurt a thing. One night with you, I'll never be the same. Climb on in my dirty old work truck, hit the road with nothing but our luck. Raise some hell and leave it all undone. With you, girl, I feel forever young. Like Bonnie and Clyde, let's kick some dust up. Take a ride to the other side. We can go where no one will find us. Just set free the outlaw in me. Yes, please, slide on over here. You got me driving without a care. It's hard to keep between these lines. It's not too late to change our crazy minds. Promise me we will never look back. Your wild eyes are giving me a heart attack. We're alive and living on the run. With you, girl, I feel forever young. Like Bonnie and Clyde, let's kick some dust up. Take a ride to the other side. We can go where
Good evening, my fellow citizens.